Let him laugh, let him weep, let him yell, let him sing. All they wanna say. Let him lay me traps and men to pray to Jehovah, me I pray. Let him laugh, let him weep, let him yell, let him sing. All they wanna say. Let him lay me traps and men to pray to Jehovah, me I pray. Let I be me instead of playing games. For chasing fame, let somebody sweat the lack of flames. No, living my life to the fullest and shout out my halala to the fullest. Let my lungs out. I'm still rising up to greater heights as long as
Hello, bonjour, Sanbonani. Welcome to Rise to Greater Heights Network, where you can turn your fears into greater success while seizing new opportunities. It is so significant to have a positive mindset, more especially under this pandemic. So this network has the potential to completely revolutionize every aspect of your life and career. My name is Nompumelelo Rial Konene, and I'm going to be your host for today. So if you're watching us online, please feel free to put in the chat box where you're watching us from and what you hope to achieve from our podcast. Today, we are surrounded by greatness in the World Wide Web. We have amazing speakers who's going to share some nuggets on how to really rise to greater heights. And today, it's so funny. We are surrounded by all the Chicago people. In Chicago, Illinois, we have Amanda Cohodes as well as Jennifer Asidawo Querubin. So at this moment, I'll just let our speakers to introduce themselves. So you can go ahead, Amanda.
My name is Amanda Cohodes. I appreciate the opportunity to speak with you all today. I'm an accountant by trade. I'm a licensed life insurance agent that specializes in helping people with retirement and protecting their families. My passion is really to empower people to rise out of situations and struggles to attain the best versions of themselves to consistently grow. For me, I love to see somebody who goes from broken and utilizes that brokenness to help others. And that's what I do in my organization, Triune Dream Builders. I help develop leaders to be able to go into communities and empower them in finances and teach them how to create generational wealth and eliminate poverty and mediocrity and oppression in our world.
Wow, I love that. How about you, Jennifer? You can go ahead and introduce yourself.
As well as what Amanda had said, thank you so much for the opportunity to connect with like-minded individuals here, but also whoever's watching this, they must resonate with your message, Rial. And I'm Jennifer Asidawo Querubin. I'm CEO and founder of Reach Your Highest Potential, and also the creator of the Infinite Success Academy. So my journey started as a nurse for over 20 years. And I knew that there was something beyond that expression of my being, in that I come from a whole family of nurses, but I always felt like I was the odd person, like I was trying to be the square peg, trying to fit into a round hole. And I realized it's because I'm truly an entrepreneur. Though in my subconscious mind, in my programming, I was not equipped to transfer over into full-time entrepreneurship until I started learning about the mind. And with that, I now train those who want to go full-time into entrepreneurship in terms of what are the different habits, with thoughts and feelings, and therefore their actions to be successful in creating their own economies. That's what I do.
Wow. Now you can see that we are really, really surrounded by greatness, good people. So Amanda, I have a question for you. If you happen to have your own billboard, I can see your billboard coming down there in the busy highway of Chicago. What will your billboard say?
She empowers those who didn't believe to find the best versions of themselves.
Wow. It's all about empowerment. And Amanda is going to be sharing on empowerment today. So please stay tuned for Amanda's speech. And how about you, Jennifer? I don't know, your billboards will be like back to back to each other, because both of you are down there in the beautiful city of Chicago. What will your billboard say?
My billboard would say it's what you don't know that's holding you back.
Wow, what you don't know that's holding you back. Oh my goodness, I believe my billboard will be the third one from the right, driving down the highway, and it's going to say rise to greater heights. Rise to greater heights. So that's so amazing. Thank you, amazing speaker. So at this moment, we're going to take our first speaker. Our first speaker is going to be Amanda Cohodes. Amanda Cohodes holds a Bachelor of Science degree in Business Administration and Accounting from DeVry University. She is the owner of Amanda Cohodes Accounting and Tax, licensed insurance professional, and a health and empowerment mindset coach. She has served on board of directors of the McHenry County chapter of NAMI, National Alliance on Mental Illness. She has experience in the nonprofit industry, having served as the community representative and assistant treasurer for Northern Illinois Emmaus, and was the financial administrator or community advocate of Foundations for Living Peace for All, and as well as being a domestic violence agency. In addition to her expertise in entrepreneurship, Amanda is the proud mother to a daughter who lives with autism. In her free time, you will find her spending time with her dad and daughter, her two dogs, Tristan and Layla, or in the gym pursuing her passion of bodybuilding. Wow, wow. Amanda is a survivor of toxic relationships and wishes to use her experience to help lead others to find health, happiness, and financial security. So kings and queens, please join me and welcome Amanda Cohodes.
Thank you so much. It's an honor and a privilege to be here. I give all the glory to God. He's I can really relate to our other speaker as I just start and say the journey of entrepreneurship is very difficult when you don't know what you're getting into, but you know you don't fit in the corporate world. So I want to talk about what it is to go after and pursue. One of the things I love is empowering others to find their God-sized dreams, right? Because every one of us was born with something special, a message to the world that if you are not obedient with, will actually lead you not to accomplish your purpose. And I believe that all pain that we find in our life leads to purpose. And instead of reminding others of the pain that they've experienced, help them discover their purpose. That comes when we find our triune dreams. We find that by actually uncovering the mindset and empowering ourselves to face those fears. In a climate today in the world where there is such uncertainty, it reminds me of the first time I stepped out 12 years ago to start my first business. And I was so scared to do it because I wasn't sure what to expect. And that is today's reality, and especially around the globe, and especially here in the USA, especially here in Chicago. There's so many people that are losing their jobs, that having a business actually empowers you to take control of your finances. So I want to talk about the topic of some of the processes in an entrepreneur that help me overcome those difficulties to be able to attain the dream life that I want to create and build, not just for myself, but a true entrepreneur, a true leader, a true CEO is not really an entrepreneur until their people are making more money than them, because we are blessed to be a blessing. So I want to talk about the journey of entrepreneurship and the difficulties that some entrepreneurs face is that they quit too soon. They give up too soon. And quitting doesn't mean you close your business. Quitting could be you just don't believe you can get to somewhere that you want to go. Quitting can be having self-doubt. And so I want to talk about, in discovering your God-sized dreams, or I will interchangeably use the word triune dreams, is actually, practicing 3 different components that are not very talked about in the business world, in the corporate world, because there is such competition. Instead of empowering one another to grow together, we create competition over promotions instead of developing more leaders within the organization, because it's a fear-based hierarchy system. So some of the things I had to learn as an entrepreneur to empower myself was a shift in mindset. And let me tell you, folks, when you start making changes, even just a small change, let's take, for instance, health. If you decide to eat healthy, it's going to at first be really uncomfortable, right? You're going to crave those things that you aren't really wanting to eat. But yet, if you do it for time, it's going to become easier. The same thing with a mindset habit. It takes about 60 days to truly implement a new habit. And about the 60-day mark, you will notice that a lot of those triggers and things that want to take you back, they want to suck you back to old habits, that they will actually start to come up and rise against you. To see, if you tell the universe, I really want this, I want to make 6 figures, I want to be a millionaire, I want to build orphanages around the world, whatever dream you have, if you tell the universe that, let me tell you, it is going to see if you really want it. It's going to tell you, do you really want this? It's going to give you that adversity. And adversity is the fuel to find your God-sized dreams. Adversity, if you push past the walls of adversity, you will be able to do anything, because you have to believe in yourself. Everybody can tell you you can't do it, but if you believe it, for me as a faith-based person, if God tells me I can do it, then it doesn't matter who is in the world, because I don't want the world. I want to leave the world a better place. People in this world are looking for hope. So let's get into it. Let's talk about how you uncover your God-sized dreams and how you practice. There's 3 components to this, and I'm going to give definitions and examples of each on how you could utilize this type of self-care, self-love, and self-compassion in the journey of entrepreneurship in order to uncover the best version of yourself. And the beautiful thing is, you can evolve, and evolving requires eliminating. And sometimes you have to kick some bad habits to be able to obtain your God-sized dreams. So for definition purposes, there's a lot of definitions. So I'm going to just first describe how I'm interpreting self-care, self-love, and self-compassion journey. Self-care to me, by dictionary definition, is the practice or actions to preserve oneself and one's own health. Let's pause and think about this. Sometimes we do things to get approval from others. In this instance, we will never obtain who we are, because there's only one of you, and there's only one person who could carry out your mission. So when we're in our workplace, when we're going through life, in our parenting, in our churches, in our synagogues, in our temples, wherever you are, you have to empower people to practice self-care, because if you can't breathe, you can't help others. So some examples of self-care that I have found is eating a healthy meal, exercising, positive self-talk. Sometimes I just go for a walk and have a conversation in my mind. You know, you're beautiful. You are a world changer. You are someone who empowers others to reach their dreams. You are someone who builds ministries globally. You have to encourage yourself, because if you don't do it, who's going to, right? So the other would be, I said, going for a walk, drinking water, making yourself a cup of tea, having sitting in the sunlight in the forest, right? Whatever that is for you, identify what passions you have, and then go practice them and love on yourself, because you deserve that. That's self-care. So let's talk about self-love. In regards to one's own being and happiness, it ties into self-care, but self-love is having an unconditional love for yourself, that no matter what anybody says, no matter what challenge or obstacle you face, It is there to help you grow as it helps you to grow to a greater heights, right? You want to push that wall down. You want to break down that barrier. You have to practice self-compassion in order to do that. Let's talk about self-compassion, a very loaded subject. If I'm completely, if it's okay to be completely transparent with you guys as the audience, I have struggled with this. I have struggled with this in the journey of entrepreneurship. I have struggled to be different. I have never fit in. My dad actually calls me WYSIWYG. What you see is what you get. And it's something beautiful in the business world to be, but it's something very painful. So let me tell you about self-compassion. By dictionary definition, self-compassion is extending compassion to oneself in instances of perceived inadequacies, failures, great sufferings. When you fail, when you act out of your character, when you do things to impress the world that maybe you shouldn't do, you have to have grace. You have to practice self-compassion. But let me tell you, that is a very difficult journey, and self-forgiveness is one of the most difficult things that I have had to overcome in order to succeed in entrepreneurship, because failure is just your first attempt at learning. Failure is not failure until you stop trying. So today, if you are facing struggles and you are scared, practice self-compassion. When you don't meet your goal, reassess and empower yourself to make a new strategy, because you are not the same person as you were yesterday. So some examples of self-love would be talking about yourself in I'm interchanging between self-love and self-compassion. So follow with me. So self-love would be talking about yourself in a positive light, prioritizing yourself, giving yourself a break from being judgy of yourself, no self-criticism. You're being true to yourself. You're setting healthy boundaries in the workplace and in your personal life. You're forgiving yourself when you fall short. Self-compassion, on the other hand, is the practice of self-forgiveness. Stop punishing yourself when you fall short, when you don't meet a goal, when the world doesn't approve of what you're doing. If you stand alone, better to stand true to thyself than it is to stand with a world that's doing something that you don't agree with. Because if we had more individuals that weren't afraid to be independent and to be different, we would change the world in a much faster pace. To employ a growth mindset is self-compassion. It's at the heart of research that mindset is contributory to the well-being of an individual. If your mind is confused, you will not find success, because success cannot come to a confused mind. You need clarity. You need to identify your triune dream. You need to find out deep down inside, before the world had pain, before it tried to shape you, before it tried to program you, that this is what you were born to do. It's one of the things I had to overcome in finances, because in a world today, we are in a mindset of not having abundance, but we are in a scarcity mindset. We wait for governmental solutions instead of being the solutions ourselves. Instead of empowering communities to build wealth, we are afraid of money, because money might be a tool that would buy us our freedom to be able to change the world. And that scares us, because when much is given, much is expected. And much responsibility comes with those who are called to change in the world, right? So we have to also, in the self-compassion journey and changing the world and changing the mindset, we have to express gratitude, even in the struggle, because in the struggle is your fortune, because that is where he is growing you. And let me tell you, friends, we do not like the season of waiting. Especially for us who are believers, we don't like when we're in a season of waiting. We don't like when we are in that desert season. We don't like when we are broken. But I'm telling you, when you struggle, when you're not sure how it's going to happen, that is when magic happens. That is when God can take the glory. That is when we can empower ourselves to say, I overcame. And then you're going to meet somebody who's in that same situation, somebody who's going through a divorce, somebody who's lost a child, somebody who's gone through miscarriage. And along the way in business, you can encourage encourage them. Along the way in your personal life, you can encourage and empower them. You can tell the woman in domestic violence there is a life outside of abuse. You can tell the child who's been raped that, you know what, sex trafficking doesn't stop where God is taking you. It's only going to empower you to change the world in a greater way, that your pain is purpose. Let me tell you that you have to find the right level of generosity. And that's not only just in finances, but to be generous with your time. Be generous. Your time is your most valuable asset, more than money. More than money. You have to realize that in this world, what we invest in developing leaders, what we invest in developing our children, what we invest in our communities is the harvest that will come. And the reason why our world is suffering, in my own humble opinion, is because we have become very selfish. The corporate model has become very prevalent, that we have to suppress others' gifts in order for us to get ahead, because if we develop their gifts, if we empower their triune dreams, if we teach them to seek after wholehearted living, then we're threatened. Instead of collaboration, we have subordination. And so we have to be mindful to stay in the moment and assess what is happening. Because if you're different and if you don't fit in, that's not a bad thing. See, and that's what my daughter has taught me. She's taught me that it's okay to be different, that it's okay to be true to yourself, even if you're made fun of, even if you're bullied. Because the fact of the matter is, we all have a gift. We all have a gift. So that's on self-compassion. And what I wanted to share with you is a few quotes that really help me when I'm struggling with my mindset, because we all struggle. Let me just assure you that every step of success, you will have to uncover a new version of you. You will have to shed a skin. You will have to break through new barriers, and you will have to empower yourself to face your fears. False evidence appearing real. Fear is not anything but a liar. It is a tool of the enemy to discourage great change in the world. So Ralph Waldo Emerson is one of my favorite authors. Long time back, not very popular, but full of wisdom. So the quote is, "What lies behind us and what lies before us are tiny matters compared to what lies within us." See, because when we go inside, when we do a self-reflection, when we encounter conflict, when we encounter adversity, we have to change from the inside out, because you can't control others. You can only control how you respond to how you're treating you. You can only control the boundaries you set. You can only control you. And in the process of changing on the inside, others will watch you. Even the haters, even the naysayers, even the people who come against you that speak negatively of you. Eventually, your character will show if you stand true to who you are. If you do not empower yourself and you fold to those things, if you don't practice self-love, self-compassion, and self-care, then you will become unhappy. You will become financially distressed. You will become broken, because the world needs you. The world needs every one of you. If someone is on this call and you're hearing this by the sound of my voice, please hear me. You are fearfully and wonderfully made, as Psalms 139 says, and you have a purpose. And if you're thinking about it, if you're thinking you don't matter, please hit rewind and re-listen to that, but more so tune into what you think of yourself, because different is beautiful. Different is empowering. Being different is what makes the world go round, because if we were all the same, the world would be a very boring place. And God says in the Bible in 2 Corinthians 12:9, "But he said unto me, my grace is sufficient for you. My power is made perfect in weakness. Therefore, I will boast more gladly about my weaknesses, so that Christ's power may rest on me." So this woman that you see today, she wasn't here 5 years ago. See, actually 2 years ago, I was going through the worst chapter of my life. I was getting divorced. I was in an abusive relationship, and I was breaking a covenant that I thought was forever. And in that process, I decided to take a risk on the only person that could change the situation, me. And I had to walk out on the water and start another business because I heard God say you need to help people with their finances in retirement. Taxes is not all of what you're doing. You need to help people create generational wealth. See, in the journey of our lives, we will find that we will meet people who will propel us and help us get to our next. They will give us a platform and a voice. And see, without entrepreneurship, I would never have had the opportunity to go to South Africa a few weeks ago and be able to serve and help women who've experienced gender-based violence or being raped, and be able to help them heal, to be able to empower children, to be able to have clean water and filtered water. See, we have an obligation when we are blessed to be a blessing. But if I wasn't an entrepreneur, would my job have allowed me to take that time off? All I had to do is reset my schedule. I had control of my time. I had control of my income. I had control over whether I could be the change in the world. See, so many of us want to complain about our circumstances. We want to complain that our lives are broken. We want to complain about the adversity. But see, you have the sword of truth. You have the helmet of salvation. You have everything you need to change your situation. But yet we are so afraid. We are so afraid that if we change, somebody won't like us. Let me tell you, it is better to be alone than it is to stand in the crowd of wrongdoing. It is better to stand in truth than to go along with the lie. So in conclusion, I just want to leave you that you are marked with a seal, that you are promised by the Holy Spirit, who is the deposit guaranteeing inheritance until the redemption of those who are God's possessions, and to God be the glory. I just want to empower you today. Change your mindset, love yourself, forgive yourself, practice self-compassion, and stop accepting the chains of mediocrity and oppression on your life.
Wow, Amanda, it's hot. It's really hot in here. I can feel it. I can feel it. You've really empowered me. Change your mindset, love yourself. I don't know, but I believe that our audience really have been moved by this message. You've started by helping us on how to identify our God-sized dream. And then you went ahead on how we can shift our mindsets to attain this God-sized dream that we will have to focus on. You've highlighted self-care, self-love, and self-compassion. What else do we really need on empowerment? So thank you, Amanda, for such an inspiring, empowering message. Thank you.
Thank you for having me.
Thank you. Our next speaker is going to be Jennifer Asitao-Caribbean. Jennifer Asitao-Caribbean is the founder and CEO of Reach Your Highest Potential and creator of the Infinite Success Academy. She has also been mentored by Bob Proctor, and she has been nominated as one of the hidden gems for the Greater Chicagoland area by Time Out Chicago magazine. Jen has helped leaders, creatives, professionals, and entrepreneurs understand the role of the mind in relation to behavior and results in business and life. She specializes in helping individuals transform belief systems on a subconscious level. So in the interest of time, kings and queens, please join me and welcome Jennifer Asitao-Caribbean.
Thank you so much, Riel and Amanda. I related so much to what you're talking about. And I just wanted to also convey, based on what you had shared, this God-sized dream is exactly where it needs to be. In other words, what is this worthy ideal in your life that you're willing to trade your life for? Because the truth is, everyone is trading their life for something, right? And if you're not happy with the results, it's not what you truly want in your heart, then the next step is, what does the new model look like? That was the key thing. So if anyone is stuck I want to say this quote right away. The only limitation we have is poverty of imagination. Poverty of imagination and weakness of attention. And that is related to the mind. And guess what? We are not taught how to utilize our minds effectively. We are not. Here's the thing, okay? So here I am as a nurse. I am so miserable, but I'm good at what I freaking do. I'm good, but I don't like it, right? Because we're conditioned to settle. We're conditioned to only endure. We're not conditioned to truly enjoy and to express ourselves fully, right? Because as spiritual beings who are having a physical experience, we have been so conditioned to look at the physical and see, well, that's just where it is. That's just the way it needs to be. But the truth is, we have such a spiritual side to us. We have a spiritual mind, and that is where the results come from. So in a traditional school system, we learn the book learning. We learn how to gather information, and then we're tested on it, and we think that we're learned. We think that we're highly educated. But as Bob Proctor will say, that real learning is when the results change. You see? So what are the real results that you have? And in my experience with working with individuals, they have to relearn how to effectively think. They have to relearn how to use the imagination. And majority of people, their imaginations are suppressed, actually. So I want to encourage the audience to start thinking even more. So what is the real income that you truly want? What is the lifestyle that you truly want? What are the relationships that you truly want? What is your contribution to society? You must ask these things. And it is related to purpose as well, right? And here's the thing, it's like, okay, so what are the things that you can do in order to find that purpose? Because we can't stop if we don't know it yet, because we have to go out there and we just have to live and then find it, right? And so when we have an idea of why I'm living and why I wake up in the morning, why I breathe and why I'm existing here, we can paint the picture, we can paint the vision of what that looks like, even though we may not know how. And that's the thing. People get so caught up with logic. Again, it's that left side analytical thinking, but we must go into the creative thinking. And the most powerful leaders are purely creative thinkers. The most powerful leaders who want the six-figure income and above, that's leadership money, they know how to tap into their spiritual mind. And that means their imagination, that means their intuition, because they are guided by a much higher power. And they know it. They're just an instrument for it, right? They know how to harness the correct memories. Here's the thing about the mind, guys, okay? Your mind is a double-edged sword. It is a double-edged sword. Understand that, right? So all of us are using the imagination, but is it to our benefit? All of us are using our memories, but is it to our benefit? All of us use perception, intuition, but is it to our benefit? All of us are focusing on something, or is it to your benefit? In other words, are your thoughts giving you a return, or are you squandering your thoughts? So this is the level of awareness that must be harnessed in order to transform life. This is what I had to do for myself, you see. Okay, because listen, 70,000 thoughts go through your mind on average every day. For others, it's probably 90,000 thoughts. And 98% of those thoughts aren't even yours. They were passed down from your family, from your environment. Our subconscious mind, which is like the powerhouse, has all power. And that is your link to universal mind, right? Which we have not learned in the traditional education system to harness. Okay, but it dictates 98% of your behavior, of your habits. So imagine that. Imagine this power that we have is not cultivated. It's running on its own. And yet on a conscious level of thinking, we want to go in a certain direction, yet our behavior may be the opposite. Does that make sense? So I want to encourage everyone to take a step back and say, okay, you know you want something, and yet is your behavior aligned with it? And if it is not, you don't have to judge yourself so harshly, because the truth is the paradigms, these subconscious mental programs is what's truly driving what you're doing. And I think humanity is starting to wake up to this. Humanity is starting to understand that in order for things to change, we must understand ourselves in a deeper level. And I feel that this is my purpose. My purpose is to help humanity understand themselves more on the spiritual plane. In other words, the subconscious mind, because all of our minds subconsciously are all interconnected. So what happens is when we start healing ourselves, when we start really expressing ourselves in our fullest capacity, you'll see everyone around you will start shifting as well. And you may lose people because you're not of the same energy anymore. And it's okay. So when things break down, celebrate, because you're making a clearing for much higher energy, people, circumstances, whatever, to come into your life. And this is all according to law, okay? Because spiritual law and natural law, they all are mere reflections of each other. So our mind is what directs the energy. Our mind is what directs our destiny, actually, okay? And we're harnessing a higher power. So the thing about paradigms, though, and I want to just emphasize how powerful they are, our paradigms were already set by the time you're about 6 years old. So sometimes when I'm speaking in front of like entrepreneurial groups or individuals, you know, it's kind of a shocking reality to fathom that all of our results, until we learn how to change these things, are basically set. They really are. Like you'll notice, I'm becoming more of my mom's pattern or my dad's pattern. You know, we'll always subconsciously bring ourselves to circumstances and situations. And it's usually a repeat of generational experience, like in our family tree or in our community, right? So the power to break the generational chains is actually in our own subconscious mind, how well we learn to command it. So there are 3 ways. The first way is through spaced repetitive study. Spaced repetitive study over a period of time. And the second way is actually through elite coaching. It's like working with someone like Amanda, working with someone like myself, working with coaches that really understand this. And the third are deep emotional impacts, where we don't really control the deep emotional impacts. They're usually like, you know, like coming down with an illness that yet a person has to overcome. It could be a divorce. It could be a catastrophic event, and they're usually very painful. So the subconscious mind, in the ways that we can control, is through spaced repetitive study and working with someone. Okay, so this God-given, God-sized dream, and I love that phrase. That is where it starts for a person, because once they can say, I want to go after this, I don't know how, but I want to go after this, then the transformation, the journey of transformation begins. Because the desire really has to be there. If it's not in the heart, I want to say this to the audience here. If your goal, like let's say you intellectually think you have a goal, but it's not in your heart, along the way, you're going to putter out. You're going to die out along the way, because this goal has to really inspire you to do what it takes, right? Because when we are really committed, we do what it takes. If we're only interested, we do what's convenient. Okay, so the three areas that I've noticed specifically with my niche of employees who want to go into entrepreneurship, there are three areas that I've seen that need the greatest work, and that is the self-image. Huge, 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 huge. See, we can have this great goal, but if we don't see ourselves as that version of the goal, the person who pulls it off on a subconscious level, we can never outperform our self-image, right? So how are you showing up? What is your energy? What is your attitude towards yourself? Self-love is huge, huge, huge. We have to fill our own cups in order to give, right? We've got to replenish our own energy and give from a full cup instead of running on empty, right? And the other aspect that I see, and this is, I've pursued business before, right? And this is how I came to this work. And the leaders would take me underneath their wing because they saw my desire. They saw that I had the talent, yet my behavior in the sales process was not there. How do you create your own economy in entrepreneurship? There has to be a sale. There has to be a sale. So the entrepreneur must accept the self-image of sales. It's very important. Now, there's a whole paradigm behind that, right? There's a whole belief system behind sales. And think about it. Think about it. What is the first thing that comes up to your mind when you think of sales? You cringe, you're like, oh my God, right? So that's going to dictate your behavior. So these deeper underlying things must be looked at, because this is the way that we're trained in entrepreneurship. It's a multi-billion-dollar industry to train. And guess what? It's pure mechanics. Majority of it is pure mechanics, right? So Wallace D. Wattles has said in The Science of Getting Rich, success, or whatever it is, whatever rich means for you, it doesn't have to be money, but it's not about doing certain things. It's about doing things a certain way. Doing things a certain way. And that certain way is dictated by your subconscious mind. Okay. So for those of you that have gone through the trainings, you've read the books, et cetera, you're actually implementing everything that you know, but the results are not there. I highly recommend explore your subconscious mind, explore your deeper beliefs. Am I still here? Yes. Okay. And I just right there, I just wanted to say that. And last is prosperity consciousness. I highly recommend. What are your deep beliefs about money? What are your deep beliefs about money? Do you truly? Because I've observed majority of people, and Napoleon Hill says this in Think and Grow Rich. Majority of the population are programmed for poverty. And it's no one's fault, yet once they come to this information and this level of understanding and awareness, it is everyone's responsibility at that point. So I hope I shed some light on the subject matter of what it truly takes to be successful in the entrepreneurial realm. Listen, the mechanics will always be there. You'll always learn the how-tos, okay? But ultimately, 95% of your success is going to be in the mind, your set of mind, your mindset. Where is it? Where is it? And how do you change it in order so that your deep subconscious beliefs are reprogrammed so that you actually carry out the behavior that will get you to the results that you want? That's all I have to share.
Oh my goodness, Jennifer, you have no idea. You have no idea what you've shared what it means to me. Really, you've mentioned that we need to unblock our subconscious beliefs so we can close more deals. And you also mentioned that we also have to do more of what we love and make more money from doing what we do right now, not tomorrow, not the other day. So thank you so much, Jennifer, for sharing such a much needed, profound message. Thank you.
You're welcome.
So to our viewers online, please feel free, post in the chat box if you have any questions for any of the speakers, for Amanda, for Jennifer, and then we're going to attend to your questions at the end of the podcast. So what we're going to do right now, I'm going to be the next speaker. But before I speak, I'm just going to share my bio with you, and then I'll come back and speak.
Nonpumelelo Rial Kunene is a highly sought-after, energetic, certified Les Brown International speaker. She is the author and host of Rise to Greater Heights, a book and YouTube channel to turn your fears into greater success while seizing new opportunities. Rial is also a coach, mentor, and an MC, well known for encouraging many to rise from mediocrity into greatness. Her vision is not only to motivate, but also to empower audiences with a fresh perspective, inspiration they require to pursue success and drive sustainable outcomes in a seriously funny way. Rial believes that we are in full control of our choices. Her mission is to meet the needs and transform lives of her clients and her audience. Rial's book, Rise to Greater Heights, has inspired and empowered many to pursue their personal and professional passion to become go-getters. Her goal is to study your current situation, identify limiting beliefs, then design a plan of inspired action to empower you to achieve specific outcomes in your life. Rial Kunene wears many hats as a professional certified sales manager, CEO, strategist, certified travel counselor, trainer, esthetician, philanthropist, diplomacy protocol officer, international human rights analyst, and a commissioner for OAS. Following her dreams gave her purpose to see her goals through and understand that she does have everything she needs to reach her full potential. Her everyday message is that your journey to be a better person starts with you. So knowing who you are to your core will make you understand that you are the only one who can accomplish your dreams. Hebrews 11, Psalm 27 and 40. Keep her to rise to greater heights. Kings and queens, please join me. Welcome, Rial Kunene!
To our amazing speakers, thank you so much for spending the rest of your day with us today here at Rise to Greater Heights Network. But before I continue, I just want to double check if I'm in the right platform here. How many of you with the raise of hand can say that, Rial, I have never, ever complained in life. Never, ever complained in life. Seemingly, I am in the right platform because, you know, sometimes in life we go complaining about everything. Oh, the weather is really bad today. Traffic was worse than expected. My family drives me crazy sometimes. Oh, the movie was really disappointing. You name it. Though whining can be a way to build an inspiration, it can also keep us from acting, and it gives excuses time to procrastinate from achieving goals. One thing I've realized is that we usually complain in the wake of a negative situation. We tend to focus more on the problem than finding potential solutions. It's always much easier to complain than to find a solution. And individuals who whine on a regular basis, they're up to have a bad health. So next time I'll find you complaining that, why do pizzas come in square boxes? Yet they are round. And funny enough, they are cut in triangles. Does that sound like you? Yeah, please write this down. Overcome business obstacles. Overcome business obstacles. You know, being your own boss can be one of the most rewarding experiences of your life. The first piece of advice I will offer to anyone who might think this industry is for her or his, do a reality check. In case you think of quitting your job and go full-time on entrepreneurship, just do a reality check. Like Jennifer mentioned, that do more of what you love and make more money doing what you do now. So when one thinks of being your own boss, picture this. You've spent so many years working on a job that hasn't been what you wanted from your life, but you're smiling because you know what? It's almost over. Let's face it, being your own boss has many rewards. And one of the first thing that comes to one's mind is that you're gonna have freedom on how you can set your own hours. Like my everyday book says that for as the body without the spirit is dead, so faith without works is dead also. So from my personal experience as an entrepreneur, having a good sense of strategies to guide you as you make that shift from the normal 9-to-5 entrepreneurship, it could help you to determine if this path is yours. Have a good sense of strategies to guide you along the way. You probably should follow your passion profitable. Why? I'm glad you've asked that, because it dictates why you do what you do and why your business exists from the get-go. It's so funny. My mom and dad gave me this beautiful, beautiful name, Nompumelelo. You know, Nompumelelo in my own language, it means mother of all success. So you can really, really see that I am really challenged to chase after success. No matter what comes my way, I'll have to chase after success, because in life, you really don't have to see the whole staircase, but you'll have to take the first step to get to the top. As my mentor always say, that you don't have to be great to get started, but you'll have to get started to become great in life. So get started, get organized. There is only one true willpower that will power you forward and help you to stay on top of things that you do in life. Being organized. Being organized. To be successful in business, you need to be organized. And it takes a certain kind of mind to think outside the box in situations, to find the value in every new circumstance that you come across. All successful businesses keep a detailed records. So being organized. And a good way to do this is to create like a to-do list each and every day of your life. If I may ask you, how many of you have dreams and goals that you want to achieve maybe in the next 6 months? I want you, as you think about your dreams and goals, to put this down. Rise to greater heights. Rise to greater heights, because you need to be clear about your career goals to gain guidance on professional development. You also need to learn how to manage your own fears. Just knowing this gives you a time to create strategies to overcome those challenges. And if you want to separate yourself from the crowd, your key should be a system of continuous innovation. Like Oprah Winfrey once said, that the thing that you fear the most has no power. Your fear of it is what has the power. Facing the truth really will set you free. And this message stirs something within me. Trust me. So you'll have to grow as a leader. Like Amanda mentioned, everything on empowerment. And then on the other side, Jennifer mentioned everything about being your own boss. So you'll have to grow as a leader. Stay focused on achieving your short-term goals. It was Amanda who said that you'll have to identify your God-sized dream. Just because you've opened your business, it doesn't mean that you are going to immediately start making money, good people. You'll find principles about us as human beings that many of us think about brilliant ideas, but never try hard enough to achieve them. As flight attendants always say, that put on your oxygen mask first before assisting others. Because if you don't, you and the other person you're trying to help could possibly go down. Put on that oxygen mask to yourself first. And one who can fail miserable and not be scared to dust themselves off and try again and again until they are successful. To me, that person is truly fearless. So good people, this is a wake-up call. All these amazing speakers have shed some nuggets on how to really rise to greater heights. This is a wake-up call. But when that alarm clock goes off, please, please, don't ever hit the snooze button. Don't be like, I will wake up in the next 2 minutes. I will wake up in the next 4 minutes. You know what? Forever is a long time. Why don't you wake up, get going, and understand finance and the risk involved in finances? The key to being successful is taking calculated risk to help your business grow. The reality of most successful business is that you will need money. And this knowledge will allow you to take the kind of calculated risk that can generate tremendous rewards. And these days, business reviews all over, they grow your business. They grow your business. In the era of smartphones, online reviews have created a new field of marketing. Reviews are actually very important for your business. And most shoppers these days, they will go on search engines like Google or even on Facebook when they decide what product they want to buy. And consumers tend to review sites to make decisions about the products and services they want to purchase. In fact, more than 80% of consumers trust online reviews. They trust online reviews as much as they can trust personal recommendations. So good people, go out there, make a difference, be the change. I so wish that you could just tell yourself that, you know what, I'll have to make a difference. I've had enough empowerment. I've had enough being your own boss. Now overcome business obstacles. I'll have to make a difference. I'll have to make a difference within me, to those who look at me as an inspiration in my business. But in order for you to make that difference, really, you've got to be hungry. You've got to be hungry like the hungry lion in the jungle. That hungry lion in the jungle, it doesn't matter what kind of animal comes his way. It doesn't matter if you're that giant elephant or that small squirrel by the jungle. All that hungry lion sees in front of his face is lunch. And it's so funny because even with elephants, when they see a lion, what they do is that they run. It's all about the mindset. Once you believe, you become. They already told themselves that I am a lion to that lion. So each and every time when I see a lion, I'll have to run. I believe that's the mindset that we need in order for us to rise to greater heights, in order for us to make a difference in this world, in order for us to make a difference within us, in order for us to rise together, because I believe that we rise by lifting each other up. And we are only here to fix each other's crown. Like Amanda mentioned, that now everything is all about competition. We'll have to stop that, but let's rise together and let's rise by lifting each other up. It's so funny, when I was in the 8th grade, I was nicknamed Phoenix. I was nicknamed Phoenix after writing a composition using the idiomatic expression that says, I rose from the ashes like a phoenix bird, meaning I became successful again. Really, that English teacher, she didn't know that the nickname Phoenix, it resonates with me. And it also aligns with my destiny. So for those of you who doesn't know the phoenix bird, the phoenix bird is a Greek mythological bird believed to rise from its own ashes after being buried like hundreds of years ago. This immortal creature acquires new life by rising from the ashes of its own ancestor, which represents our capacity for vision and success. So I want to encourage you, if you are listening under my voice, that when your world comes crashing down, wear your scars to show how a phoenix feels like to die from inside, and trust in your own capability to rise from your own ashes, since the phoenix has to die, burn, experience pain before resurrection from its own ashes. Please write this down. Write this down in conclusion. Resilience to greatness. Resilience to greatness. If I can be honest with you, I don't know what goals you've set for the next 6 months. I don't know what dreams you have for your future. But here is one thing I know about you. You are destined for greatness. Inside of you, God has put seeds of excellence. Those seeds are supposed to grow and flourish. But many people have become crippled by their past encounters, and some have stepped over other people to get to the top. But I believe that God has a better plan for every one of us. Your objective is what you are designed for and the reason why you live today. With God, I believe that we're all destined for greatness as long as we follow his strategy. This is when the growth commences, because discovering your gift and following God's idea will make you understand that you have everything around you to reach to your full potential. My everyday inspiration, Mr. Les Brown, once said, if you had to die today, at this very moment, at this hour, What dreams, what ideas, what visions, what goals, what skills, what talents, and what books will die with you? And he also continued that the richest place on this planet is the cemetery, because that's where all the dreams, all the visions, all the goals, all the talents, all the skills have been buried. Honestly, I don't know about you, but with me, listening to this message, it gave me sleepless nights. And I am really proud today to introduce Rise to Greater Heights book before you. This is a comprehensive guide to turn your fears into greater success while seizing new opportunities. And I didn't stop there. I believe that, you really don't have to be politically involved to know about your human rights. All human beings are entitled to them, and you can never, ever be excluded from your own human rights. And I believe that we need to stand for a world where no one shall live in fear, maybe because of the color of their skin, and where the criminal justice system treats everyone fairly and equally. So I decided to write about the 30 Universal Declaration of Human Rights. These are God-given fundamental rights and freedoms that everyone around the world should be enjoying. So I didn't stop there. I continued, gathered 15 different authors around the world: Australia, United Kingdom, Trinidad and Tobago, South America, USA, Canada, you name it. 5 different continents. We came together under one topic: resilience to greatness. And I believe that this book has the potential to completely revolutionize every aspect of your life and career. And by the way, I have a free transformation guide for you. It's available on my website, www.risetogreaterheights.com. And with that free transformation guide, you're going to be able to explore leadership, empowerment, being purpose-driven, mentorship, coaching, resilience to greatness, emotional intelligence, mental health, and many, many more topics, including spiritual growth. Because growing up, I didn't have much in life, because my father decided to have an early departure from this planet Earth. But I had everything because of my mama's love. And I love you so much, Mom. So I think whosoever said that the sky is the limit was wrong. From today on, I, Nompumelelo Riel Kunene, believe that the sky is our point of view. So let's all rise to greater heights. Thank you. Thank you so much. Thank you so much, amazing speakers. And at this time, I'll just let our speakers to share their final thoughts on how to really rise to greater heights. And if you forgot to share how the viewers can get hold of you, please, this is the time to share on how our audience can reach out to you and see what you have in store for them. So any speaker can just jump in and share your final thoughts on how to really rise to greater heights.
If I may, a large part of our journey is based on faith, right? And belief, which dictates what we actually do. And a big part of that is faith based on understanding and study. Belief are basically emotionalized thoughts, right? So the thoughts that are truly in our hearts will dictate what will actually manifest in our lives. So the greatness itself, if you can see it as like a seed, it always needs to be nurtured. So the imagery of that greatness, what does it look like? Because the mind works with images. Constantly nurture that image, constantly nurture that feeling of greatness. Yeah. And eventually we will see the sprouting of that greatness. You're going to see all the opportunities come to you, like this opportunity of gathering these amazing women. We attracted each other to each other because we're of like mind. So the greatness as part of the journey is to embrace the trials and tribulations as well, because it's teaching you what you're really made of. It's teaching you creative thinking and problem solving. And whatever setbacks that may be experienced is just setting you up for a much better situation down the road. So a lot of this is attitude, a lot of this is perception. And I highly recommend to surround yourself with the correct environment. This is huge, right? So this is a relationship between you and a higher power. This is your internal alignment. So you can actually mentor yourself. Yeah. And also surrounding yourself with the correct environment, meaning the people, and also transforming your physical surroundings. It's like your own vision board. So what are the visuals of what you want to manifest, and have it all around you? So you have an external stimuli with your five senses, always reminding you of what you are manifesting in your life and what that greatness looks like.
Wow, thank you, Jennifer. Thank you. Thank you for your final thoughts, really. Amanda, you can go ahead. Like, I've got nothing else to add on this. Like, wow. Amanda, you can go ahead and share your final thoughts.
My final thought is just as Jennifer shared, you attract what you are. And if you don't like what you are, you have the opportunity to change. So like Jennifer, I'm full of gratitude that, one, you would ask me, and two, that I could be of service. And I hope that your audience gets value. You have to realize that when you trap yourself in a box, you cannot unveil who you are. See, the process shapes you before it rewards you. You have to be willing to accept. One of the things I had to do, you mentioned, Jennifer, earlier, relationship with money. I had to read some books about money to realize that I had some foundational holes. See, you can't, fire will not consume foundation. Our pastor was talking about that this weekend. You have to break it, right? And in the brokenness, you can shift those pieces and empower yourself. But sometimes we are so caught up in what our upbringing was that we will never unveil our full potential, because we are so conditioned to stay in those limiting beliefs. But see, it's in those limiting beliefs and overcoming them brick by brick, dismantling the lies brick by brick through faith. And that's the only way. This is a journey, and I have not even scratched the surface of where God is taking me. But every step of obedience, he will unveil the next step. As you talked about, Rael, you don't have to see the whole staircase, but you have to be willing to take the first step. And you have to be willing to embrace and trust yourself. See, some of us in childhood were taught not to trust ourselves so that we could be manipulated to whatever our parents' dreams were, whatever our life was shaped. Some of us might have been told we weren't good enough, that we would never amount to something. And to that person, I say, as the title of your business and ministry, I would say, rise to greatness. Go in and unveil what that pain was meant. Help yourself find your purpose. And the fact of the matter is, we have to look at this. If somebody wants to tell us something negative about ourselves, they are threatened by us. There is no reason to be threatened by greatness. There is reason to empower it, because in greatness, there is a lot of pain in the world. And if we had more leaders that would rise up to tackle the challenges, if we had more leaders who were willing to be brave, to stand for what is right, rather than what is socially acceptable, if we were willing to look at things through our individual lens, instead of allowing someone to place an identity on us, we would live through our true identity. And so, that is what I love about the journey, right? The journey brings the seeds of hope. The journey brings people of integrity to you to help grow you to the next level of leadership. As Jennifer said, mentors come into your life. You are buried and the seed is planted and it is packed down. It is packed down. It has to crack to sprout and grow. And a bamboo, as an analogy I love in entrepreneurship, a bamboo grows its roots very, very deep, 80 feet deep in the ground before it shoots up to the sky. And I love your saying about the sky, because even the sky is not the limit when you believe, because you can surpass every limitation if you can see it through imagination, as Jennifer spoke on. The key is, if the world can teach you to stop dreaming, then it can dismantle the power that God placed in you when you were created. So if anyone would like to connect with me, I am on platforms on the screen at Instagram at Triune Mom Dream Builder. That is my inspiration. My daughter changed my life. And so I always, everything we do, you mentioned your mom, my mom taught me to trust God. And maybe she didn't have the tools, but we can change. See, that's the power. So go ahead, if you want to connect with me, Instagram, I'm on Facebook, I'm on LinkedIn. But most of all, our pain is meant to transform somebody else's life. And so if my pain can bless somebody, please reach out. Would love to have a conversation. And Jennifer, being we're both in Chicago, would love to connect with you. And thank you again so much for this opportunity to come and share seeds of hope with those of your viewers, Riel. I appreciate that so very much.
Wow.
Thank you, Riel.
Thank you.
Yes.
Thank you so much. Thank you, Amanda. Thank you, Jennifer. Jennifer, I know being under Bob Proctor, like thinking into results, shift your paradigm. Like I can just hear Bob Proctor speaking when you were speaking. Amanda, you are really, really amazing. And what you're doing in South Africa, really, it just warms my heart. If you've never been in anyone's shoes who is struggling, what Amanda is really doing, making a difference in South Africa, it humbles me. Continue shining the light, Amanda. The change that we want to see in this world must first begin with us. The world needs us more than anything in this world. So we are here. We're gonna, like when you touch the analogy about the bamboo tree, I think it's a tree in China. I've heard about it like that. You'll have to water this tree every day, and it takes 5 years for it to just come out of the ground. But the moment it's out, it only takes 5 days for it to reach to grow like 5 feet tall. So I was like, what? It takes you 5 years to grow this tree, but the moment it's out, it's just like only 5 days, just like that. So I believe we need that kind of mindset, that we'll have to be patient on our dreams, be patient on ourselves until we achieve our desired goals. So it's so funny, we don't have any questions being posted, but I believe that our audience has been inspired by all of your messages. So thank you, Jennifer. Thank you, Amanda. So to our viewers online, thank you so much today for joining us at Rise to Greater Heights Network, where you can turn your fears into greater success while seizing new opportunities. I hope from the messages of these amazing speakers, you've been inspired, motivated, and ready to rise to greater heights. So do join us next week at the same time, same place. Thank you. Merci. Siyabonga.
Let him laugh, let him weep, let him yell, let him sing. All they wanna say. Let him lay me traps and men to pray to Jehovah, me I pray. Let him laugh, let him weep, let him yell, let him sing. All they wanna say. Let him lay me traps and men to pray to Jehovah, me I pray. Let I be me instead of playing games. For chasing fame, let somebody sweat the lack of flames. No, living my life to the fullest and shout out my halala to the fullest. Let my lungs out. I'm still rising up to greater heights.